What's going on, YouTube? This is the first time we're doing this. If you can see, you'll see the behind the scenes here at some point. I got Ryan over here. This is our first official, formally produced YouTube Live. So we're gonna do a YouTube Live Q&A. So I'm gonna kind of go over some questions that I've been getting a lot from my clients recently, and then we'll get into some questions. So if you're watching right now or you jump on at some point, put a comment down there with some questions you might have so that we can continue to bring the value and answer the questions that you as my audience have. But first, one of the biggest challenges I'm seeing right now on a consistent basis is hiring, and not just hiring, but finding good people. Whether it's a field staff, off staff, sales, doesn't really matter. It's everybody's having challenges. Even there's recruiters out there not getting the results that they used to, kind of across the board. So what do you do about that? How do you handle that? What do you want to do about that? One of the biggest things that I think people should be doing is utilizing social media to cultivate opportunities and relationships with your target audience, whatever that might be from that position you're hiring. So as an example, like right now, if you're using Indeed or ZipRecruiter or Monster or whatever, you're putting an ad onto one of those job boards, right? Well, unfortunately, in my opinion, I think the good employees and great employees out there, they're not on the job boards like looking for a job. They're not out there trying to find opportunities. They're typically somewhat happy with where they're at. And so utilizing marketing as part of your recruiting strategy, where you are creating content specifically around and for the candidates that you're trying to hire at the moment, right? So you're talking about things that they're dealing with. You're talking about the problems that they have. You're talking about why they're having those problems. You're talking about what you're asking them to do. You're putting the message out about, hey, if you're just not satisfied where you are and you think there might be a better opportunity for advancement out there, like, please apply or comment below or send an email to whatever that looks like. So let's just say you're hiring for a sales position. You can say, hey, look, if you're an in-home sales specialist and you were promised leads, you were promised opportunity, you were promised to make a whole bunch of money, and that's not happening, it could be because your company just does not have the systems and processes to support you. Right now, we're hiring 2 in-home sales specialists. If you think you'd be interested, comment below or shoot us an email or shoot us a DM. We'd love to have a conversation with you to see if you're a good fit for us and if we're the right fit for you. Something as simple as that can go a long way with putting like the pain point in front of your target audience so that people will understand and want to collaborate with you and really be a part of what you're doing. Part of that does come down to, though, you having consistent content over time so people begin to know, like, and trust you online. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't know how to do that, I mean, obviously you're on YouTube right now, so just YouTube it. But if you want to reach out, just go to MikeClaudio.com, schedule a time to talk. Let's see if we can get you some help, whether with myself or the team. So after that, I think cash flow is the second thing that's going to be one of the biggest challenges this year. I think with material delays, I think material price increases, I think with subs having a hard time finding quality labor, I think with consumers and the way that they're going about making decisions and spending money right now, especially with what's going on in the world. So things that you could be doing right now to minimize your risk. One would be, go get money when you don't need it. Things like a line of credit, things like an SBA loan, things like a local, one of your local credit union loans. Like going and getting money when you don't need it is the best time to go get money. And the best part about a line of credit, you can get a line of credit for $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, but only take 10 grand out, and that's all you're paying on. But that line of credit is there in case you need to dip into it at some point. But getting yourself in position right now where that you can set yourself up for success with having access to funds as projects might get delayed, as material issues become a bigger issue. It's going to hurt some people that don't prepare properly. And I don't want to see it, and I hate for it to happen to somebody that's in my audience. But like ultimately, I really, really want to see you succeed this year. And so let's try to get ahead of those challenges to an extent as well. And then the third thing I think is cultivating, helping your employees become higher performing. It's one of those challenges where everybody's always looking for better people. And realistically, the better people you need are right where you are, right? They need better training, they need better advancement, they need better coaching, they need better mentorship, they need better information. And so one of the things I see happen a lot is a lot of business owners out there heavily invest in themselves, right? Especially in the worlds I'm in with Apex, Arte, Lion's Den, WinRate. Like these are business owners that invest in themselves. I don't think enough business owners are out there investing in their people. We're throwing a sales boot camp here at the warehouse at the end of March so that business owners can send their salespeople here to get some investment, to get some alternative perspectives, to get some tactics that they can bring home with them back to where they are. But I think it's really great when you have a business owner that's highly motivated to grow and learn, and then that person starts to invest in this person, and they're able to grow together as the business continues to expand. It makes the longevity of impact, the longevity of change, the sustainability of change that much greater, because you have multiple people focused on helping it happen. You have multiple people engaged in involving and getting better and bringing new and innovative tactics to the company. So if you're a business owner right now and you're all about investing in yourself, you're all about making things happen for you, totally get it, totally love it. Look at how you can spend a little bit of money investing in your people, because there's very likely nobody has ever invested in them before. And that makes them more vested into you as a company, you as a person, you as a mission. But spend some time, whether it's time, resources, or just finances and events or coaches or whatever it is. Invest in your people, your best people that you think have potential, who want to be a part of what you're doing, but you would benefit from them being better as well.
Something that I think you can talk about, how do you prepare for shooting content? And then the second part of it, how do you prepare for going and speaking? Because you might be on a stage speaking to people, but they're going to be speaking in front of maybe other business owners, potential referral,
or even just their own employees.
Yeah. So talk about those two things: planning your content, planning a speaking engagement. What do you do?
All right. So if you're talking about content just on a regular basis, the best way that I have found to prepare, and I don't know what Ryan's opinion is, I think it's really around like understanding your cadence, understanding the routine. Like I've always been big on themes of the day, like Monday through Friday, right? And so I know what the theme of the day is from a content creation perspective. So I can batch content, creating like a Tip Tuesday. You can literally write down 52 questions or 52 issues or 52 pieces of information around the product or service. And that's 52 weeks of Tip Tuesday. And you can batch create that. But as far as like preparing to present, whether it's from stage or for your team meeting, I'm really big on having an outline or bullet points of what I want to progress through. So when I look at a speaking engagement from stage, if I'm looking at from my team, I have an agenda of sorts. I have an itinerary of sorts where it's like bullet points of specific items I want to cover. If I'm specifically talking from stage, I am really good about following the format of tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you just told them, which basically means set them up for what they're about to hear, tell it to them to educate them, and then recap what you just told them. What's your biggest advice for someone starting the construction business? I will be niche picking in concrete work only. Check previous 150 YouTube videos. No, man, like seriously, I probably have 50 videos on the channel around different stuff, but it depends on like where you're at, what you're doing. Is it commercial? Is it residential? But the first thing you need to do is go get a fucking client. Like if I had to simplify it that much, you don't need a name, you don't need a website, you don't need all this shit. You probably need insurance, right? But like go find a client, because until you find a client, there's nothing else to really do. I see so many people, and I was guilty of this, and Ryan even told me, like I got that office that first year. I think it worked, it helped, but it wasn't needed. That was like $7 or $8 grand that first year I spent on lease payments that I didn't need to have accomplished what I accomplished. So don't overinvest. Go find clients, first thing. Because once you have a client, then you can go get your insurance, your LLC, and all other kind of shit. If you go do all this stuff and then start trying, you're delaying the process of creating profit, which is definitely what I think causes most businesses to fail. But yeah, go find clients. You can even minimize that down even further to like just go find relationships. Like, are you wanting to work for builders? Are you wanting to work for homeowners? Like, what do you want to do? Go find relationships in that space that you can start building that know, like, and trust factor so people feel comfortable hiring you. Before you speak on camera, sometimes it looks like you take 3 or 4 seconds to collect your thoughts. What goes through your head in those moments? All right, so I talked about it earlier, the outline, the agenda, like that formula of tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you just told them. When I close my eyes and I take that moment right before I start talking, I'm walking myself through the progression of that journey in my head. So like most of our videos are 5 to 10 minutes. And so I'm thinking about, okay, I do the intro. What's the setup? What's the content? What are the 3 items I'm going to talk about? What's the closeout call to action? Go. And so it used to be a lot more than 3 to 4 seconds. It used to be like, oh my God, I'm like talking out loud. Now I can walk myself through. But when I compose myself right before I start talking, it is me walking myself through that progression of that. Tell them what you're going to tell them what you just told them. So I can like mentally track myself through the progress of that. My man, what advice would you give someone who has a hard time letting go of tasks they used to be responsible for, but now can't do because of time involved? Grow the fuck up. I love you. I know who that is, Mr. Stripe It Like It's Hot. When it comes to that if you haven't read Thomas Keenan's book, Unfuck Your Business, he talks a lot in that book about, valued tasks. Like, is this a $10 an hour task, $100 an hour task, $1,000 an hour task? And so if you're looking at those tasks, ask yourself, what is this task worth per hour? And if it's not worth what you think you're worth, like, offload to somebody else. So looking at, for me, it was like scheduling podcasts. Like, I've offloaded almost everything. If it doesn't involve me being on camera or talking to a client, almost everything the business does now is offloaded to somebody else, because like those activities don't make me money. I'm a business coach. I get paid to coach. I only get paid if I'm coaching. So doing things like CRM updates, scheduling podcasts, editing podcasts, doing YouTube videos, content distribution, none of those things directly make me revenue. So for you, Mr. Striper Like It's Hot, look at what is the value of this task in the grand scheme of my business. And then if it's not worth what you think you're worth, stop doing it. Good stuff to start a podcast and listen to you. Thanks, Turner Builders. I've been following you on Instagram for a little while, man. Congrats on the podcast.
You got one more.
Well, all right.
We'll answer.
We'll roll. If you were in a depend on what kind of business it is, Anthony. Where I would start. I always say the same thing. Call everybody in your phone book and tell them what you're going to do now, because those people already have a know, like, and potentially trust relationship with you. So go into your phone book, call everybody in your phone book at some point, and just let them know, hey, I'm starting this deck company. If you know anybody that was looking for a deck or whatever, I'd love to have a conversation with them. And just most people already know, like, and trust you, want to help you. But people are like selfish in the grand scheme of things. Like, they only focus on what's going on in their life. If they don't know what you're doing, or they don't know how you're helping people, they don't know what it is that you're looking for, they can't do it. So calling everybody and telling them what you're doing and see if they know anybody or would make a post for you in their Facebook groups or on their page or whatever, that'd be the first place I would start. And if you don't have any friends in your phone book, if you have nobody to call, don't start a business. What do you tell clients who are waffling on signing up for coaching due to your price? I asked the question, like, what is an average client value for you? If you tell me your average client value is $150, you probably can't afford me. It's several $1,000s a month to work with myself or one of the other WinRate coaches. So that's the first question. Hey, well, what is one client worth to you? And if you tell me, well, my average client's $15,000, I'm like, what's your average profit margin? 30%. So for every client you get, you're gonna make $5,000. Yes. Okay. Do you believe, on what you know about me, that I'll be able to get you enough clients to offset the expense of me over the time frame of this contract? Oh yeah, well, if you put it that way, that makes sense. Hey, appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you being here. I guess tune in next month when we do this again. We'll make an announcement ahead of time so you kind of see it's coming more than one day ahead of time. We made the announcement yesterday, but we'll definitely give you more of a heads up going forward. So thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. Went fast, went often.